In today's latest industry recap, there's coverage on Spirit Airlines, Air India, and they're entering into a new era. And lastly, on Alaska Airlines, set to launch a new route as they venture east. But I want to begin with a company I firmly believe has been the center of attention in the past few weeks, that is Spirit Airlines, and their long-term future, which remains pretty unclear, as analysts warn that the company could struggle to turn around its poor financial position without support. One of the most significant underlying issues that Spirit Airlines has yet to be able to rectify is its financial position. The company is continuously making losses, and since the pandemic, despite a strong resurgence in demand across America, it has struggled to adequately perform with its business model. While a strong word for a company, bankruptcy has been floated around several times by analysts and many more who study the carrier in depth. Even if some deem such a word too strong, the future outlook for Spirit under its current status isn't bright. Spirit turned a profit before the pandemic, but since then, it has lost over $1 billion USD, and that amount is growing, which is concerning for any company, but especially for Spirit. Refinancing debt is, yes, going to be a focal point for the company as it looks to move more positively into the future. These are per reports by Reuters, which also note that restructuring is not something that has been considered at this point. I think at this point being a very crucial part. If the downturn was to continue and the airline believed that restructuring was the only way out, it's something they may definitely look to explore. They wouldn't be the first carrier to enter into it, and some do emerge in a much more positive light. Now moving over to another major story which has caused all of this. JetBlue had initially proposed a purchase of Spirit Airlines, worth some USD 3.8 billion, believing all up a deal would be mutually beneficial. Additionally, such a merger, if approved, would have allowed JetBlue to close the gap between it and some of the leading airlines in the United States. However, following a formal court ruling, a merger has been blocked, as the court believes that such a merger would reduce competition and have a major impact on consumers, which is honestly two of the leading reasons why a merger wouldn't go ahead. Spirit Airlines is a low-cost carrier at heart, and as a result, provides cheap fares to customers around America. However, the belief is that if JetBlue were to acquire them, these low fares would go missing, and thus remove consumers' ability to travel into key markets, as airfares would be significantly bumped upwards. The Justice Department said that people love Spirit, even though it is a small airline, and if JetBlue acquired it, there wouldn't be an airline there left to love, as JetBlue would have major control now. However, some analysts on Wall Street believe that Spirit is a sinking ship, and a merger was really the only way out for it. As a result of the deal being blocked, this could spiral into an uncontrollable position per these analysts. Looking ahead, Spirit Airlines has, as you've probably been aware, pretty keen for JetBlue to appeal the ruling, preventing the takeover worth billions. Some people believe, alongside industry analysts, that such a deal would be better for JetBlue to walk away from. The pair are now moving ahead with a formal appeal. Mergers being blocked isn't abnormal, nor are legal appeals being launched after, say, a rejection. However, turning around such a decision presents various challenges for all relevant parties. An appeal doesn't guarantee it being turned around. Such a coming together is believed ultimately to be more essential for the long-term future of Spirit rather than JetBlue, which is why you see that sense of urgency that they're projecting outwards. On to the next story of today, and that's with Air India, who have seen their A350 enter service, although at the time of recording this will occur later today, but I know when this video is being published, the A350 will have launched domestic operations. First flights with the A350 occurred on January 22nd, 2024, following a lengthy period of optimization after the airline, as you may recall, took delivery of the first unit in December 2023. Air India says the 350s will initially operate domestic services, with these being essential for crew training and familiarization flights, as the company gets used to a new aircraft type. Typically, whenever a new plane arrives, especially a new aircraft type, airlines will deploy the unit on domestic flights first, which are short in nature. This 1 to 2 month period, sometimes even shorter, is classed as a testing period, and once completed, the airline will then finally upgrade the aircraft to what its initial plan was. In the case of the A350 for Air India, well, that is set to be long-haul flights. For the moment, though, it'll focus on cities such as Bengaluru, Chennai, Delhi, Hyderabad, and Mumbai. This really is a game changer and a new era for Air India, and while these words are something that is typically ushered for most major airlines when receiving a new aircraft type, I think you could agree that this couldn't be truer for Air India. The arrival of the A350 marks a significant moment for the company under new ownership from the Tata Group, as they continue moving towards this next generation of fleet. An arrival comes following a significant investment in new planes consisting of almost 500 units. These new planes from Airbus and Boeing will mark the new era, where the airline looks to become a leading global force. To achieve these plans, the carrier has also revamped the interior of its aircraft, with the A350 debuting a new feel. The company hopes that the overall customer experience levels will increase through a cabin upgrade and many other changes. Air India has in the past bled money, and its reputation among India and travellers has dropped significantly, facing fresh competition in the sector. Under new ownership and with the injection of many billions, the hope is to turn around that reputation and make Air India once more a proud carrier for the country. You can let me know down below in the comments whether you believe this will pay off or whether you believe it is just money wasted. On to the last story of today, and that sits with Alaska Airlines announcing it'll add flights between Seattle and Toronto for the first time, as it connects to the largest city in Canada. Alaska Airlines will operate a daily non-stop service from May 16th, 2024, utilising the 737-900. You may think to yourself that Toronto is maybe an odd destination, but when considering that in December 2023, Alaska signed a partnership with Porter to grow its Canadian network, it all makes sense, especially with Porter being based in Toronto. Porter has rapidly expanded its route network by using the Embraer E195-E2 and intends to continue with new connections towards the west coast of North America. As part of that partnership, Porter became the 30th global partner for Alaska Airlines. Launching towards Toronto from Seattle is pretty significant for the company, with Toronto being, yes, the largest city in Canada. It has also become a new destination from their home airport in Seattle. Previously, the company says in the early 1990s they did actually fly between Los Angeles and Toronto, but generally flying from the west coast towards the eastern part of Canada may seem pretty foreign, despite it happening before. Toronto will now become the 6th city in Canada that the company flies to, and obviously more locations will be reachable thanks to that partnership with Porter Airlines. You can let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. As always, I greatly appreciate the support you show here on the channel. I'm really glad that you have been enjoying these long-form aviation news updates. Personally, I love making them. I love being able to get to various different stories rather than just one per day. Please do take care, do also be safe, stay tuned, same time tomorrow, same place, for your latest industry recap.